Thanks for having me here. It's not a dreamer today. So I am Cara Wilson. I'm the acting fisheries satellite coordinator for NIMS, or NOAA Marine Fisheries. They're used interchangeably. My co-author today is Sean Hayes, who's the chair of the IO's Animal Telemetry Network, and we're going to be hearing more about that tomorrow. I'll talk a little bit about that and stuff, but Toby's going to talk more about the Animal Telemetry Network, which is a marine network, sort of similar to what we were hearing about earlier today about the bank and the and this session presentation I put together for the Argos 4 satellite launch that happened back in September. There was a congressional briefing, and so I put this together for Congress to talk about how NOAA Fisheries is using Argos data. So it was really worked out well in terms of reusing the presentation. So I'm going to start off by talking about the congressional mandates. Obviously, when I was talking to Congress, that made sense. It makes sense for this audience as well. So for fisheries, for NOAA, there are a number of mandates that basically, mandate what it is that we do and why we do it. The big one is the Magnuson-Stevens Fishery Conservation Management Act. That's the primary law that governs marine fisheries management in U.S. federal waters. So that governs a lot of what NOAA Fisheries does. And under that, we have stock assessments. There's about 450 stock assessments that NOAA Fisheries is required to basically do every year or do regularly. Then there's the Endangered Species Act, and so under that, NIMS is responsible for endangered, marine, and endangered species. So we say marine fisheries, but it's not just fisheries, it's living marine resources. So basically, if it's endangered and lives in the ocean, then we're responsible for it, and that's about 160 species. And then there's the Marine Mammal Protection Act, and so again, we're responsible for those marine mammals under the Marine Mammal Protection Act, and that's another 100 of those species. And then another mandate is the Antarctic Marine Living Resources Convention Act. And so within National Marine Fisheries Services, we have the Antarctic Division, and so we are responsible for basically monitoring what's going on in the Antarctic system. So that happens within fisheries as well. And basically, for all of these things, really tagging animals and finding out where they're going and what they're doing is really vital to do all of this stuff. In terms of the Magnuson-Stevens Fisheries Conservation Act, I mean, there's a lot of things that tagging helps with. It helps with stock assessment, essential fish habitat, bycatch reduction, spatial management, monitoring climate change. These are just showing some examples of some of the things that we have here. Public archival tags, we were discussing that at lunch. These are sometimes we'll put tags on post-release of survival discards. We can basically see, if the animal is discarded, if it was caught accidentally and then thrown back, does it survive? Not. A lot of different things it's used for. We have things like EcoCast, which is a product that's been developed to try to mitigate bycatch in fisheries and which is taking into account movement of animals that we know, but both harvesting animals and also bycatch species. Well, basically what I'm going to do, this is a very short presentation. What I'm going to do next is really just sort of do a high-level view of just all of the various things that fisheries tags. So we tag green turtles. You can see over here just showing some of the species range of this animal. Leatherbacks. Leatherbacks have these great migrations. They go all the way across the Pacific. Before we started tagging them, we knew where their foraging was. We knew where their nesting was, but we really had no idea where they went. Now that we have put tags on them, we can really see their migrations across the Pacific. Another example of leatherback turtles is in the Atlantic. You can really see how big these animals are. They get up to about half a ton. You can see here the tag, and apparently that does not actually interfere with its swimming ability. More turtles. These are loggerhead turtles. You can see on the East Coast. You can really see how they use the coastal habitat. Baby turtles. Are they cute? So these ones were released off of Brazil. Little baby turtles. Crabs. Who knew, right? So we even tag crabs. Basically, if we can stick a tag on it, we will. On the other opposite side of the tide spectrum, we have whales. This is probably not all the whales that we tag, but this is just a kind of a smorgasbord of some of the whales that we tag to try to understand their migration and distribution. Seals, there's a number of seals we tag in both the Arctic and the Antarctic. This was done by the Alaska Fisheries Science Center. Ribbon sealing. Northern fur seals. This is an interesting program. This is the sea lion entanglement program, and so in this case, they are putting the transmitters on them to monitor them post-release. So basically, they trap the animals after they've had these entanglements, and then basically, so they can basically monitor how they're doing after the entanglements. Gray seal movements. Again, you can really see how the gray seals really use the habitat of the continental shelf. Sharks and rays. Another cool spiny dogfish. Salmon migration. This is really important to try to understand where the salmon are going to try to understand their survival. Billfish and tunas. Now we're going down to Antarctica, so this is actually a program I've been actually involved with trying to work with this penguin data, but trying to understand how they're using the environment and understand their really large migrations that they have. They basically nest in this area, and sometimes they go all the way over to the other side of the peninsula. More seals. These ones are down in Antarctica. This is an interesting study. So in this study, they were tagging orcas, and you can see on the left how the skin is kind of yellowish, and that's because it has this algae that grows on it. And with these migrations, they realized that actually the orcas are migrating up to the warmer waters, basically coming from Antarctica and going up to warmer waters up here to kill off the algae. So they're basically going taking this trip to the spa that takes 40 days and 5,000 miles to basically clean up their skin. It's kind of cool study. We talked about this a lot this morning, but really the power of the collective. I mean, so this is great, all these individual studies, but there's a lot more information we can get when we add it all together. And that's what the Animal Telemetry Network is doing, and again, Toby's going to talk about this more tomorrow. But it's a NOAA IUS, which is the Integrated Ocean Observing System program. It's an interagency effort to basically pool all of this data together so that we can see where not just one species is going, but multiple species is going, and to have all of this information together available in one place. So this is just kind of a sneak preview. You'll get more information about this tomorrow. This is just showing you an example of basically the density of all the raw tag locations. This is a nice counterpart. This morning we saw maps like this with everything on land. We have stuff in the oceans too. Next got a little next up here, but we have 70 species, 129 projects, and 13 million tag locations in there. And then this is just the graph here is just showing you the growth of the data in the portal since it was put together in 2019. And then lastly, this is kind of interesting. So not really that appropriate for this audience, but we in NOAA Fisheries we stick tags on things more than animals. We also put them on gliders. So this is just talking about some of the gliders that we put tags on, and you can see Argos telemetry from that. And this is there's a lot of ship surveys and things that we have to do in NOAA Fisheries, and we're looking towards gliders to try to do some of that work for us, and using that telemetry data is useful in that aspect. So acknowledgements, these are just all the people who gave me the slides, the taggers. I myself am actually not a tagger. I'm a satellite oceanographer. I help people match up this data, telemetry data with satellite data, environmental satellite data. But these are all the people who contributed slides.